And welcome back, everybody, to One True Theory, the show where we like to make okay predictions about the things that are going to happen in the next episode of the shows that we watch. And the last One True Theory, I made a prediction about Rwby episode 8 for volume 6. And it was okay.
Are we sure about that? How much longer can we even trust him?
John!
I mean, I got Rwby learning and training more with her silver eyes, and I totally called that John was going to finally put a boy against the wall. That sounds really wrong when I say it that way. But I think that has largely to do in part with the fact that my shipping goggles here were on just a touch too tight. So instead, we're going to count on a different force for this episode. We're going to rely on our critical thinking hat. It's a little tight. There we go. Yeah, so our critical thinking hat. And we're going to do another episode prediction for episode 9 of volume 6 for Rwby. So, as a new person with a new set of headgear, I have an idea about what this episode is going to contain. Also based off of the recent preview sneak peek that was shown during Rwby Rewind a couple days ago. So, in the Rwby Rewind, spoilers of course. In the Rwby Rewind, we saw Team Junior traveling around the city with Saffron Kata Arc. And they're basically trying to explain why Oscar ran away, but they're doing so in the vaguest and least detailed way possible, which eventually makes Saffron decide to break away from the group and just wish them luck, because she doesn't feel like she's contributing or really needed or wanted there. So, with this information that Team Junior is on their own looking for Oscar, that leads us to believe that Team Rwby is also separate in their team looking for Oscar. However, I think Team Rwby is going to be broken up into teams of 2. See, the original idea for this could have been partners, but as we all know, Uncle Johnny Boy here does not have a technical partner anymore, so they probably just went as a team. Team Rwby is going to go with their 2 sets of partners, however. So we're going to have 3 teams, Team Junior, Team Rwby Weiss, White Rose, and Team Bumblebee, Blake and Yang. And they're all going to look around Argus and are going to also encounter some different trials and tribulations and emotional conflicts as the episode progresses. The big thing that Team Junior is going to come to terms with is why they are all reacting extraordinarily negatively to the news that Salem is a lot stronger than they originally thought, and then their mission is going to be a touch more impossible than originally intended. And I don't think it's going to have a lot to do with all of that. I mean, it has a little bit to do with that. But I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that hearing this news digs up old wounds that the whole team just got done kind of healing over. It digs up the old wounds of Pyrrha, because knowing that the whole mission so far seems to have been for nothing makes Pyrrha's sacrifice, makes what she was going to do seem pointless, which we saw that affected John especially, which is why he put a boy against the wall in the first place. But I think it's also affecting the rest of the members of Team Junior, because they all cared about Pyrrha. So they're going to be dealing with that while they're looking for Oscar. Meanwhile, Team White Rose is going to be kind of dealing with that, but also dealing with the idea of having a family member that is a heavy alcoholic and how that really damages and ruins relationships. Because right now, Crow is 0 for 2 for being a good supportive uncle in favor of drinking. And Weiss is very experienced in having a mother that is an alcoholic. Sorry. So they are going to have a little bit of discussion about that, as well as, having generalized Oscar talk. And then we got Team Bumblebee, and they are going to talk about, of course, the general Oscar talk that everybody's going to talk about in this episode, but also they're finally going to have what is known as the Talk Part 2. The talk that started in the barn back at Brunswick Farms, but is now going to come back for a sequel. And it's going to go about as well and probably a little bit worse than that talk in the barn went. Because whereas Yang dismissed everything in the barn and just settled on trying to get back to everybody, I feel like the emotions are really going to come out in this episode. And both sides are just going to duke it out at each other, which is eventually going to cause the members of that team to split up and go their different ways. More on that in a moment. So, I don't know if this Finding Oscar plotline is going to get solved in this episode or not, but if it were to get solved in this episode, or if it does get solved in the next episode, I think I know who's going to find him. Team Junior is going to be the group that finds Oscar, mainly because Jean and what he did was the straw that broke the camel's back and caused Oscar to leave. And after finding him, John's going to very calmly explain why he reacted so poorly and really apologize and throw himself on the bus for an apology to Oscar, because he realizes that he overreacted and it definitely wasn't his fault for all the things that have happened. So Oscar's going to get found and he's going to be brought back and sheltered to the group by Team Junior. Team White Rose is going to find Uncle Crow with his scroll turned off, his scroll incapacitated or something, and just completely flat out embarrassingly drunk. Just beyond reason drunk. And they may or may not have that conversation in that episode or not. Once again, this could also all filter into next episode depending on how episode 9 goes. And Blake and Yang aren't going to get that sort of closure this episode, but instead, a certain Adam Taurus is going to track down one of them, possibly Yang, since I imagine her being the one that storms a little further off into the city, and is going to initiate that plotline. Because I believe Adam has been riding the train to Argus, and has been stalking the group the whole time, ever since Blake decoupled the train. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think about my thoughts in the comments below, and maybe post a couple of thoughts of your own. In the meantime, remember everybody. Sorry, getting over a sickness. In the meantime, remember everybody. Every video is a party, and you're always invited to the next one. Thank you. Have a good night, and be sure to subscribe. Oh, God.